Perfect. I know you're sitting down, but we're going to start standing up. To get my binoculars out and have a look at the screen. Yep, standing up. So we're just going to take a couple of minutes, have the feet parallel, hip distance apart, and we're just going to wake the shoulders up a little bit, open the ribs, inhaling the hands above the head, palms together if you're able to, or just above the shoulders for the first couple of repetitions. Inhaling, and whilst we're doing this, just getting used to being in bare feet on the ground, toes spread out a little bit. Practice shifting the weight forwards and backwards through the heels and maybe to the outer edge and then back into the instep. And then we're going to step out a little wider, allow the feet to turn out a fraction. I'm going to bend the knees. This is called a horse pose. So imagine that you got the horse and you're straddled over it. It's a big horse. If you've got big legs. Little legs, you might be using a pony. Now you want to be in a position where the tailbone is tucked under a little bit, so the pelvis, rather than tilting back, which quite often happens in this posture, is it's drawn forwards a little bit and you're bringing the ribs down towards the hips. So you're getting a little bit of a zip up. Bring the hands in front of the body. And on the inhale, we're going to lift the hands up towards the collarbones, taking the elbows out and straightening the legs at the same time. And as the exhale, you press the hands down as if there's an invisible force. Let the knees bend again. And you want to move slowly so that you can really get a sense of movement through the legs, but also keeping that pelvis in position. There's just perhaps changing postural habits that might be in your body, which is why it can be a bit of a challenge. And we come down for the last time. We'll bring the hands onto the thighs and take the right arm up towards the sky. Lengthen a little over into a side bend to the left side. Try and keep the head in line with the spine. Very little weight in this lower hand. It's really there as a guide, keeping the chest facing the long side of the mat. The front side of the mat, if you're not straddling like I am. We'll come into the opposite side. Lift up. And ease over as we exhale all the air out of the lungs. And we'll bring ourselves back into the center. Finally, let those legs open up and zigzag the toes back in. I'm going to turn towards the front of my mat, have your feet hip distance apart. Inhale the arms out nice and wide. Bring the hands in towards the heart, hinge at the hips. Take the weight into the toes. Folding gently down to the floor. Hands onto the shins, inhaling up. Halfway, folding down. Hands on the shins, we lift up again. Exhaling down. Hands onto the hips, hips, shins. I know what I mean. Exhale down. And then we'll step back into a down dog. We're not going to stay here very long. Just want yourself to have a little walk out through the feet to wake them up a little bit, and the heels and the ankles. Knees to opening shoulders up a little bit. And we'll come forwards into plank and let the knees come down to the floor. Take a little breath and we'll move gently into cat-cow. So just drawing the chest forwards, tailbone up to the sky, the belly in. Tilt the pelvis the opposite way around. Let the spine open up. Press into the hands and shins. Inhale forwards. And exhale back. Now bring yourself back into neutral spine. Tuck the toes of the right leg and lengthen that out. Lift the foot away from the floor as I bend the knee. Sole of the foot to the sky. And I'm going to exhale, I'm going to draw the knee through to the chest. I'm still going to round the knee and the nose get very close to each other. And then taking the leg back, keeping the belly drawn into a neutral spine. Kick the leg a little high and bring it back in. So when you draw the belly in, and you activate the glutes, you find that the little bit of a press in the leg is quite minimal, doesn't need to be high at all. We'll come back for last time and lengthen the leg out, bring the foot to the floor, allow ourselves to bend the knee, bring that back, the left leg goes out, we lift, keep the hips stable, bend in the knee, exhale, draw it in. Nice round spine, just brushing the floor, hopefully with the knees, or at least missing the floor. Little kick, draw it in. And one more. And take the leg high, lengthen it out, bring the foot to the floor, and this time we'll take the opposite leg back out, so we're into a proper plank, and we'll lift into a down dog. Draw the right leg to the height of the hip, bend the knee, sole of the foot to the sky, draw the knee in towards the nose, and then move back into that starting position. So we're trying to maintain the down dog, the spine will round. It comes back into sort of more of a neutral. We bring the knee back up to where we think the height of the hip is. Draw it in with a squeeze. It's strong on the standing leg and the arms and the shoulders. We bring the foot to the floor. Take the other leg to the height of the hip. Bend the knee, sole of the foot to the sky. Draw the knee in, squeeze. Knee and nose, a little rounding in the spine. Flattening the spine back into the down dog position. Drawing the knee in again. Lifting it back up. Last time coming in. Taking it out, bringing the foot to the floor. We'll let ourselves come forwards gently for a moment into a plank. Take a couple of breaths here, and then we'll lift up into down dog. Now they'll ask you to bring your hands in just a little bit. If they were wider than your shoulders, turn the elbows down to the floor and bring your elbows down to the ground. So you're in a down dog. Your shoulders are behind your elbows. Your legs are lifting up. Hips are lifting up. So dolphin pose. If you have the elbows out a little too wide, this gets increasingly more difficult. So it's better to have them in a little bit closer. And then you can press down into the hands and the forearms. It's a big stretch into the shoulders. It is a power move for the shoulders as well. There's a lot of core muscles to lift up. Legs are fully engaged. Almost there. 2 more breaths. And on the exhale, knees to the floor. That feels better down on the ground. And take a little breath from here. Bring the hands back underneath the shoulders. Take a little breath. Come back into plank. And we're just going to flop the feet over towards the left side to take the right hand up towards the sky. Take a little breath. And then the hand comes down, touches underneath the opposite side of the mat. Inhale up. So you're going to keep the flat foot grounded. The other foot you might move around a little bit on the side edge. And the last one. For this side, not the last one. Hands come down to the ground. We're back into plank. Legs go over to the right. Right arm comes up. Get stable, adjust. Make sure the shoulder is over the wrist. And then we float the hand down. Inhale out. Quite a lot of creaking and cracking in the old spine region. And last time down. Last time up. Hands to the floor, knees to the ground. Toes out to the side. Feet come forwards. We use the hands to ease ourselves into the ground. We draw both knees in, set hands on top of the knees, and let ourselves make some circles. So right knee goes right, left knee goes left. And go away. You come back in, breathing in, exhaling out wide and away. A little bit of movement through the shoulders and the hips together. And a chance to catch your breath if you've been nattering all the way through plank twists. Now we're going to let the knees come back up towards the center. So they're at arm's length. The head is on the floor. We're going to lift the shins to where we think is parallel to the ground. And take a little breath and take the arms out wide. Going to draw the belly button in towards the spine, get the lower back to the ground. And we're going to toe tap with just the left foot. And then bring it back up. And then we'll cross over. So you have a guide where you want to end up. And we're drawing the belly button down. So we stop that little bit of a lift that can occur in the lower back. We're trying to draw that down. So it's more about that than it is without worrying whether we keep a perfect 90 degrees between the calf and the thigh. I mean, as long as it's close, that's perfect. There's a little tap, as the word suggests. There's a lightness to it, so we don't rest, and we're slow on the lift back up to avoid rounding the spine. That's a micro pause, but it is there. Last tap. And draw the knees in even closer towards the body, and we'll flex the feet. Arms stay out wide. We let the legs roll over towards the right side, try and keep thighs, knees, ankles together, and then we lift back up. Now, if you're able to roll completely to the side and bring the legs to the floor, I'm going to ask you to hover an inch off of the ground with your knees and your ankles. If you're getting within 3 inches of the floor, you don't have to do anything other than try and keep the legs pressing together. So depending on whether you're hypermobile in the spine area around the hips, the lower back, middle back, or whether you are average, in which case keeping your shoulders on the ground and will prevent you from rolling excessively. Keep the knees drawn in nice and low towards the body. Got about another minute to go. Avoid pressing the arms into the floor. You can allow the head to turn the opposite way if you wish, or just keep the head facing towards the sky. Last 30 seconds. In, sides pressing together. This time we'll roll over to the final side and bring the hands over with us to let ourselves roll gently up from the floor to sitting. Take the legs out in front, cross the ankles over, bring the heels in, roll over onto the knees and back onto all fours. We'll take a little breath from here, tap toes underneath, press the hips up and back into our down dog, come forwards into our plank. Keep the hips high. Use your core muscles to lift up, pressing into the hands, push back, down dog. Allow yourself to float forwards. And coming back. So keeping the legs straight. Controlling the shoulders over the wrists. Just pressing gently back, letting the chest and the shoulders open out a little bit. One more time. Back, and then we'll draw the right knee in towards the chest and bring the foot through into lunge. Coming on to the fingertips, we'll take a little breath. Slowly lower the back knee to the floor. Keep the toes tucked under. Draw the hands forwards in line with the body. Engage your core muscles and then lift the body up slowly into the vertical. Bring the hands down to the floor. Step back into a down dog. Draw the left knee in and through. Lower the knee. Take the hands forwards. Exhale up. And come back down. Step back into our down dog. Right leg comes in. Knee to the floor. Draw up. Hands down. Step back. Left leg comes in. Through. Down. Hands lift. One more to each side. Step into a forward fold. Hands to shins to lift halfway. Fold down. Hands to shins. Fold down one more time to the shins. This time I take the arms out wide. Flat back to lift high. Hands through the heart down to the floor. Exhaling. Hands wide again. Last time up and down. And as the hands come to the floor, soften the knees into a squat. Put the hands forwards. Ribs and thighs are still drawn together, and drive through the legs from that low chair position. Letting the hands come out wide and shake it all out a little bit. Hopefully feeling good. Come back into the front of the mat. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Taking the right foot back into lunge and dropping the heel in ready for warrior two. Bring the hands alongside the thighs. Right arm comes forwards and we open up into our warrior. Just taking an opportunity to let the groins open, get used to a position, just reacquaint the nervous system with how warrior two feels. And inhale the hands high, and come down to the floor. Just spin the back heel, bring the hands alongside the body, lift the torso slowly, and let the arms come forwards and up to the sky. Draw the belly in, square the hips, press out through the back heel. Now we'll bring the hands to the floor. Step back into a plank. Come forwards into a half plank. Let ourselves lift for up dog, strong legs. Roll the shoulders back. Lift up into our down dog. Draw the right knee into the chest and lunge. Inhale, drive off the back leg. Forward fold. Hands under the hips, soften the knees, flatten back to lift, second side. Left foot back. Draw up the heel in. Hands alongside the body. Take the left hand forwards. Draw yourself up into warrior two. Again, we just take a little time here. Let this side of the body understand what's happening. Different side, different story. And we inhale the hands high, rotate gently down to the floor. Bend the back heel, find a balance. Hands alongside the torso, lift. Slowly draw the hands forwards and up. Press out through that back heel, square the hips. Draw the belly in, ribs down, shoulders back, nice wide open arms. Hands come to the floor. Stepping back into the plank. Ready for half plank. So up dog. Down dog. Left knee comes in for lunge. On the exhale, breath in. And then press off the back foot. Forward fold. Hands over the hips and we lift up. Inhale high. And through the heart. Exhale down. Right foot back into lunge. Drop the heel in. Hands alongside for warrior two. Right arm comes forwards. We open up. Cartwheel into our warrior two. I'm going to turn the palm on the front hand. Come into reverse warrior. Take a breath. Check your knee is still over your ankle. Your foot is pointing forwards. And then with a strong back leg, you're going to walk your fingers as far down as you can, keeping your knee on the front, same position. Try to let that top arm follow the line of your body. We'll come back. Warrior two, float the arms high. Hands come to the floor. We step back gently into our warrior two, into our plank. I'm getting tired. Come forward into half plank. Up dog. And into our down dog. We'll draw the right knee in. Lunge. Take a breath. Press out through the back heel. Push off the toes to exhale forwards into the fold. Hands on the hips, soft knees on a lift. Inhale high. And through the heart. Exhale down to the floor. Left foot back. Drop the heel in. Warrior two. Get a little lift. Left arm comes forwards and we open up. Warrior twos. Palm turns. We come into reverse warrior. We slowly take the hand down the rear leg as far as we can. Try to have the top hand follow the line of the body, up and over, stretching out through the fingertips. Connect with the front foot, even though you can't see it. Come back into warrior two. Float the arms high. Hands down to the floor. Into the plank. To half plank. To up dog. To down dog. And we'll draw the left knee in. Exhale through for the lunge. Breath in. Push off the toes. Forward fold. Hands onto the hips. Stop. Inhale high. And through the heart. Exhaling to the floor. Right foot back. Heel drops in. Warrior two. Hands alongside. Right arm comes forwards and we lift up. We'll take the hands immediately behind the back. Interlace the fingers. Draw them down towards the floor as we squeeze the shoulder blades together a little bit, bringing the ribs down as well. We turn the body and the hips, make sure there's still pressure in the outside edge of that back foot. Bend over, extend over, didn't say that very well. Take a little breath, and then slide your body onto the inside of the thighs. You take the hands towards the sky, and your eyes move towards the back foot. And use the hands down to the floor, and we step it into a plank. Come into the half. Lift further up. Move back further down. Draw the right leg in and bring it through. Exhale into the forward fold. Hands under the hips and we lift up. Inhale high. Arms through the heart. And we exhale down to the floor. Take a little breath. Step the left foot back. Drop the heel in. Warrior two. Take the hand forwards and lift up. Bring the hands behind the back. Draw them to the floor. Rotate gently. Extend out. Take a breath. Slide on the inside of that thigh. Lifting the hands, letting the head glide down slowly. Try to keep the hips over the center line. So imagine where your pubic bone is. That should be somewhere near the center line between your heels, rather than hanging out to the side. Now we'll bring the hands to the floor. Step it back into a plank. Come forwards into the half. The up dog. Into our down dog. We'll draw the left knee in. Bring the foot through as we exhale. A breath. Drawing the belly in. We come into the forward fold. Exhaling. Hands onto the hips and we lift up. Inhale high. Hands into the heart. Close the eyes. And we can let the eyes open. Shake everything out. I'm going to move to the middle of my mat. Bring the toes together, but have a little bit of a gap for the heels. I'm going to move into a little sequence of chair poses. And if your feet are completely together, you end up pressing the ankle bones and it just hurts. So we don't want to do that. Bring hands in towards the heart. Soften the knees over the toes. Now we're going to think about the position of the pelvis. So for some of us, when we come into this, the tailbone will sort of tilt back and feathers go up towards the sky. And for some of us, we're going to round in the spine, so feathers go down towards the floor. You want your feathers to be somewhere in the middle. So if you need to, you can bring your hands onto your hips just to find out where they are. And then I'm going to ask you to sink down about another, what you think is an inch lower. So you start to engage the core muscles a little bit more. The thighs were already happily working. Now you're going to find the point to focus on the floor ahead, not immediately down on the ground, but maybe sort of 6-8 feet ahead. Something that doesn't move. We'll bring the hands in towards the heart. Take a little breath. We're going to shift the weight gently into the left leg. Slide the right foot forward so we can point through the toes. The toes and the heels are off the ground. We keep the knees and thighs pressing together. And we breathe. Chair balance. bring that foot back. Stay in position, but move the weight into the opposite leg. Slide the left leg forwards a bit. Bring the feet back. Let ourselves lift up. Shake out the legs and the ankles. Cool. Going to come a quarter of the way-ish forwards on the mat. We're going to move from chair into warrior three, so 2 standing poses. Need to make sure we've got enough room behind and enough room ahead. So this time we have the feet hip distance apart and we soften the knees, so it's a slightly different version of chair. Thighs are apart, legs are apart. We sit into our inch lower. Think about the pelvis. Shift into the right leg. Take the left foot away from the floor and bring the heel in towards the butt. They're going to hinge forwards and keep the spine flat and use the rear leg that's lifted to really help with the weight. And then gradually, as you come into more of a parallel line with the ground, you compress out through the back heel. I'm going to soften the front knee and let the back toe come to the floor, and then slide the foot back into your chair position. So you limit the risk of wobbling around as we transition back into the chair. Sit back down the inch again if you move, like I just did. And we slowly move into the left leg. The right foot comes up, heel comes in. Keep breathing, the belly is drawn in, the spine is long. We lengthen out. Use the leg and the torso to counteract with each other. Try and keep the hips square to the ground. And again, we let the back toe down to the floor, that little bend in the knee. Slide the foot forwards. Hopefully catch ourselves. And then we can stand up and just walk into the very front of the mat. Take hands out wide on the inhale. Hands into the heart. And just to realign the legs, a forward fold. Now we'll move back into down dog from here. And we'll bring the toes onto the center line at the back of the mat, ready for a pigeon pose. We'll draw the left knee into the chest and take the knee to the outside left elbow. Swing the heel to the groin, let the shin come to the floor. Walk the right foot back as far as we can. Get the hip as low to the ground as possible. Come up onto the fingertips. Draw the belly in, press the back leg down into the floor a little bit. Try and lift with your abdominal muscles up out of the pelvis. So rather than trying to lift with your back muscles, see if you can bring it to the other side of the body and see if they'll join in and help. Lifting through those abdominal muscles. They're very used to crunching and drawing in. This time you're trying to lift and lengthen out. So it's a different mind-body connection that we're trying to establish. And then we're going to bring the hands to the floor, tap toe on the back foot, roll the shoulders back, lift the knee, lift the hips, and ease our way back into our down dog, toes on the center line. We'll draw the right knee in, knee to the elbow, swing the foot through, bring the shin gently to the floor with control, walk the rear leg back, make sure you're happy in your hips, knees and ankles. Begin to press the back leg into the ground, draw the belly in, and lift onto the fingertips. As we come out of this, we're going to roll this right cheek down to the floor, taking the right hand out to the side a little bit. Slide the rear leg through, come into our sitting bones, and then draw both feet together so the soles of the feet touch, and we'll just take hold of the ankles, let the knees hang out to the side, draw the chest up, sit as tall as we can. Having had a little bit of a rest, we'll gather the legs up, cross the ankles, bring the heels in, just roll gently over onto the knees. And come onto all fours. I'm going to bring the elbows down to the ground. And let the palms of the hands meet to start with. Take a little breath. Take the legs back. Try and have the hips about the same height as my shoulders. Actually press the shoulders away from the floor so I keep them as high from the ground as I can. So there's a little bit of rounding going in, drawing the belly in. So again, I'm trying to bring the ribs to meet the hips. Think of it squeezing in. Remember, we like doing crunches. It's easier in the spine. Muscles are a little bit more adapted for that. Pressing out through the back legs, nice and strong. We're going to take that into a side plank. So we're going to bring the left hand across the mat, roll over, bring one foot on top of the other, so stacked legs. And then when we're ready, we'll just bring this top hand onto the hip. Come back, cross the arms over the other way, bring the legs in, hand on hip, sides of the legs, sides of the feet rather, lifting the hips high. Back into the side plank. Plank, knees to the floor, feet out to the side, and then to the front of the mat. Lengthen the legs out. For down dasana, hands by the side, roll the shoulders back, flex the feet, rotate the thighs in a little bit. Okay, we're going to draw the feet in towards the bottom, slide the bottom towards the heels, roll the spine down to the ground, and slowly take the hands interlace gently around the back of your skull. Elbows out nice and wide. Going to walk the tippy toes in towards your bottom, so the heels are already away from the ground, thighs touching. Draw the belly down towards your spine and your spine to the floor. Half boat. I'm going to draw the chin towards the chest. Take a little breath without involving the arms or the hands. We're going to lift the chest. Down nice round the spine. Once we're safe, we take the hands forwards. We draw the belly down again to reinforce. Lengthening the legs out, spreading the toes a little bit. We lower the toes as we exhale until our eyes and our toes pretty much line up. Still breathing. And we slowly bring the legs up as we exhale. Draw the hands behind the back of the head. Bring the feet to the floor. Roll the spine gently down to the ground. Take the arms out wide. Bring the knees in towards the body for a single leg toe taps like we did at the very beginning. We draw the core muscles down towards the floor. We start with the left leg, we tap the floor, we bring it back and cross over to our right. Keeping it nice and slow. Now, since we've turned on all the muscles in the abdominal region, you should be able to get a really nice connection here. Completely ignoring the fact that the muscles might be tired and that's why you can feel them. You don't believe that. One moment. What's that? Nice. To the floor. Bring the knees in. Little hug. Roll onto your right side. Use your hands to lift up. Spin the feet to the back of the mat. Come back down onto the belly. Chin on the ground. You can take the hands alongside the hips, palms down. Feet are hip distance apart. On the inhale, we're going to roll the shoulders away from the ground up towards the sky, lifting the hands and the body, and then bringing ourselves back down with control. Inhaling up, squeezing the shoulder blade area, and back down. We'll do 3 more of these. Inhaling up. Last one. Take a little breath here. And we'll take 5 again, but this time with thighs lift first, and then the torso on the hands. Everything comes down together. Thighs lift first, torso and hands lift second, everything down to the floor. Thighs lift, body lifts, and down. Again, thighs, torso, down. Last time, thighs, torso, and down. You'll take a little breath and bend your left knee. Take your hands towards the ankle. Bring the right hand forwards, crossing the arm over in front. You're going to start to lift the chest. And wiggle that arm a little bit closer underneath to come into almost a sphinx version with that front arm. And allow the heel to move in towards your bottom. You can hold on to the toes if it's easier, on the outside of the ankle. And then we'll release. Draw the right leg in. Find the ankle. Draw it in towards the butt a little bit. Take the left hand forwards. Press it into the floor. Bring that elbow in. Cross the forearm over the mat. Draw the heel down. Make sure you're still pressing nice and firmly through that forearm, keeping the shoulder nice and balanced in the position of the strength for the shoulder girdle. So that means not with a shoulder that's popping out to the side or dropping around anywhere. It's kind of more in line with the body as if you were just standing with the shoulders relaxed. Hands by the side, position we're looking for. It won't feel relaxed, but that's the position it'll look like. And then we can release. Whew, and bring that foot to the floor. Take a last little breath. And we're not even going to bother changing ends. We're going to roll onto our sides and then onto our back. And we're coming straight into Shavasana. Legs out wide. Eyes closed. Wiggle the shoulders around. Wiggle the hips. Get plenty of length in the body. So quite a little bit of wriggling needed. You get into all the little places. You might be holding a bit of tension in. And then when you think you've wriggled that out, we'll just let ourselves soften, relaxing the jaws and letting the breath flow. We're about 4 minutes. Plenty of time. Begin to stretch those fingers and toes. Roll the wrists and ankles. Breathe a little deeper. Use that energy to stretch out if we feel good. And we'll slide the heels in. Try to let knees come to the body, one leg at a time. Enjoy a simple hug, a rock, whatever feels good. And roll carefully over to the right side. Inhaling. As we exhale, we use the hands to press down and bring ourselves gently back up to sit. Bring the hands in towards the heart. Take a breath in. And on the exhale, let the chin drop, the belly draw in, bow gently to the floor. Inhaling, we can lift the body slowly until the head follows, the eyes open. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for Friday evening specials. See you on the mat soon.